Hi, I'm Dr. Lori Schwartz-Reichel. My career began in music education where I learned the importance of a key change, a shift, in the tonal center of a piece of music, often used to inject energy or produce significance. Eventually, I realized the impact of making key changes in all areas of my life and the desire to help others do the same. Making key changes can be difficult. I certainly don't have all the answers, but I do like to pose questions for reflection and offer actionable key changes for us to attempt in both our working and living situations. Together, we can unlock our greatest potential in collaboration with those we love, serve, and lead. Let's discover how we can grow together by making key changes. I think most people I meet would characterize me as joyful. I am usually happy, and I take great pleasure in doing things with and for others. In the last few years, I feel like my joyful nature has diminished, at least to some degree. I was 37 when I had my first child, so after college, I spent 15 years as a single person and married to my husband without children. During that time, we focused on our careers, traveled, and spent time with friends. I loved life during that phase. I was joyful. Having children certainly didn't end that joy, but it altered it in some ways. I was experiencing joy differently than I once had, and I needed to acknowledge this and realize that I would continue to encompass joy as I experienced even more phases of life. I miss that time of my life, but I don't want to dwell on it. The ability to work any hour of the day, travel whenever we want, and have frequent meals, meetups, or getaways with friends has lessened to some degree in the last decade. Impromptu dinners and drinks have been challenging due to chauffeuring children to weeknight activities. Various fun-filled weekends away with friends have been replaced with cheering on the sidelines at sporting events for our children. Planning far in advance with friends and family has become difficult, not knowing what the schedule so far in the future may look like for all members of my family. I have noticed these changes with many of my friends also raising children or serving as caregivers to relatives. Life has changed. The joy has changed, but it is not gone. It has emerged in different ways, even if sometimes we feel it has gone away for longer periods of time. Don't get me wrong, I still do all the things that I used to do, especially in my 20s and 30s with my friends, just not as often during this phase of my life. It just takes more detailed coordination, understanding, and often patience. Check out last week's episode to learn more on the important P word. If you are a caregiver or parent, you know exactly what I am talking about. There's joy in parenting and caregiving. Yet sometimes I feel like I've lost some of my spontaneous joy in other areas of my life. A few weeks ago, I had dinner with an old friend. We've been friends since we met in the 5th grade band. We each played saxophone, and my dad was our band director. So she knows me well. She has seen me at my best and worst. We started talking about life in our mid-40s and how overwhelmed we feel at times while raising children, attending to partners, staying in touch with friends, especially those who live far away, caring for aging parents, juggling work, staying healthy, and all the other stuff that comes with menopause approaching and first colonoscopy appointments. If you aren't familiar with the term, the sandwich generation, it refers to adults who are caring for both children and aging parents. We are also experiencing the death of our parents, as I have attended so many funerals for my friends' parents in recent years. Many of my friends and I are in the sandwich generation or approaching that point. It's a challenging situation that can cause emotional and sometimes financial difficulties. My friend and I slipped into a conversation about our past. We began reminiscing about the difficult transition we had when we became parents. For me, this feeling began around the age of 37, shortly after I went from single woman to first-time mom after nearly 15 years of really only caring for myself. My friend looked at me a bit perplexed and said, "I never would have guessed. You always seem so calm." Did I? Like many first-time parents or caregivers, I was struggling inside. I guess I did my best to appear put together on the outside. But was I joyful? Did I feel happy as often as I previously had? My hormones were certainly raging inside. It was and continues to be a constant struggle or jigsaw puzzle to manage the complexities of life while encompassing joy. At one time, this seemed so easy for me. In addition to becoming a parent in 2015, I was also transitioning from an educator of 15 wonderful years to an entrepreneur. There were resources about becoming a first-time parent, but there wasn't a roadmap for me about transitioning careers while simultaneously going through parenthood. Or at least I hadn't looked for one or found any. In 2015, I had trouble relating to anyone also experiencing that type of professional transition. My future was uncertain, and I didn't know how to react to this emotion. As a teacher, my days were planned to a T. Now, as an entrepreneur, I had to create what my days and years would be. I knew very few entrepreneurs, and no one close to me was doing the work I was trying to create. The number of no's I received, and still receive, as an entrepreneur certainly wasn't making me feel joyful. Although my friend believes I handled these personal and professional transitions well, I am not certain I always did. But I handled them. The joyful me was there. She just needed to emerge a little more often, and for different reasons. This took time to discover and demonstrate. A few weeks ago, I was one of 4 featured speakers at the Sisterhood Summit in Maryland, a day dedicated to supporting women and their growth. The first speaker spoke about joy, the second on wealth, and the third on health. My job as the 4th and closing speaker was to guide women on how to make actionable key changes in their lives on these topics. Check out episode number 38, Mentorship and Motivation Unlocked, to learn ways to do so. In Hannah's presentation, while giving a cooking demonstration, she spoke about using a joy compass, which had 3 points of destination. It was an idea she was beginning to flesh out, and she wanted to expand on this for future talks. A compass's primary function is to indicate direction or to measure the range or scope of something. Hannah was utilizing this idea to support her concept of healing your mind, body, and soul in the kitchen and beyond. Hannah and I hit it off at the summit, and we each provided one another with constructive feedback. We also agreed to meet via Zoom, as she lives in Massachusetts and I'm in Maryland. Before we met, I Googled Joy Compass and found that Donald Altman wrote a book titled The Joy Compass: 8 Ways to Find Lasting Happiness, Gratitude, and Optimism in the Present Moment. I realized I needed to read this book. The book's advertisement reads, "Do you long for the ability to live fully in the moment? Do you wish that you could transcend everyday worries, dissolve discontent, and find true happiness? If so, the Joy Compass is your guide to finding and honoring your strengths and bringing them into your life." The book outlines 8 unique mindfulness pathways, including laughter, gratitude, forgiveness, music, reflection and meditation, affirmations, the here and now, and love or social connections. Each chapter includes tools, tips, and strategies for overriding the brain's natural negativity bias so we can be more resilient and joyful each day. The book is meant to serve as a guide to readers to teach us to recognize our negative moods as early as possible so we can refocus our attention on the people, pleasures, and thoughts that bring us the most joy. I was hooked. It was obvious to me that I needed to encompass more joy. How about you? Do you feel the same? While it's normal to feel down at times, actively choosing a positive perspective and looking for the good in any situation can shift your mindset toward joy. Consider these 5 key changes for encompassing joy in your life and with others. Key change number 1, be present. Attempt to center yourself in the now rather than dwelling on the past or worrying about the future. In episode number 1, Productivity versus Presence, I talk about the need to be more present with those we love, serve, or lead. Key change number 2, be passionate. Do things that you love, whether that's creative expression, hobbies, nature, or anything that lights you up. These moments are the foundation for lasting joy. Key change number 3, nurture relationships. Joy thrives in connection. In last week's episode, titled Connection is Crucial for Growth, we focused on the need for meaningful connections as a way to grow. Spend quality time with people you care about and foster deep, positive relationships. Shared laughter and support amplify joy. Key change number 4, spread kindness. Acts of kindness can create a ripple effect, not only in others, but also in yourself. Giving without expecting anything in return can foster deep joy. Key change number 5, practice gratitude. This key change was part of last week's episode, and it is often the last change I mention in many of my podcast episodes and articles. Focus on what you're thankful for every day. When you actively notice and appreciate the small things, joy naturally follows. To encompass joy means that we are committed to ensuring that joy becomes a central part of our lives. It's not just about experiencing fleeting moments of happiness, but rather creating a state of mind and lifestyle that continuously nurtures joy. Be kind to yourself. Recognize your worth and allow space for joy, even when you make mistakes or face challenges. Allow yourself to be amazed by the beauty in the world, even if it is a different beauty than what you once knew. Encompass Joy. Access the show notes for resources to help you and those you love, serve, or lead to grow. My main work is public speaking, so if you feel the contents of this episode or any of my talks or courses would add value to your school, company, or organization, please contact me. How are we making key changes to encompass joy? Thanks for listening. If you haven't done so yet, please consider rating and reviewing the Making Key Changes podcast on the Apple Podcast app. If you found this episode helpful, please consider sharing it with others and joining me again next week. In my coming episodes, I'll discuss topics that are most passionate to me, along with things I've been researching or areas of my life I have changed or want to change. You can learn more about me on my website, makingkeychanges.com. Feel free to message me through there or reach out on social media. I'd love to hear from you and learn about what key changes you hope to make.